What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody. What is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. And today is my birthday. So thank you all for all the birthday wishes. I've tried to respond to everybody that I could. I'm probably going to have to go back in there and just say a thank you to everybody who just wished me a happy birthday. As you can see, I'm in a new location. I moved, so I actually had to rearrange the office and have a little bit of different setup. So I'm here still in Tempe, Arizona, but I have a new location. But first and foremost, it is my birthday. And I wanted to announce, as you guys have seen some clips from the book. I just wanted you guys have seen the covers, but here are the two covers. Plan Your Greatness. Now I have this over here because this was the idea. When I gave the idea to and I just did this because this isn't actually the book. It was just a book that I took, and I wanted to just put this in my mind because if you notice, I put on that post, I said thoughts are things. So this shows you that I started out with the symbol, and if you look at that symbol, this is exactly the same symbol, just with the variations of colors. The title is just about the same. I probably shortened it a little bit, but this just lets you know you can do anything. If you decide you want to put your mind to it, you can do anything. But I wanted to share a little bit about how I actually got to writing this book. Now, I have actually 3 other books that are written. And the reason why I didn't release them is because I felt that they were the beginnings of this. And it was important that I think this got released first. Now, I'll explain that to you. What I mean is, when I was in prison, it was encouraged to me that I should write in a journal, release some of the ideas and demons or whatever that I had. And I thought it was a dumb idea, but I started doing it. And then it actually became addictive because I was at such a low level academically in every area. The writing actually was something that I gravitated to. As you can hear in how I speak, a lot of that has to do with, 1, my mother, but 2, that I read so much that it raised the level of my reading comprehension. It raised the level of my articulation. It raised the level on how I wrote. It just did a world of things for me. And so as I began to write, I wrote almost every day. I was incarcerated for 1,241 days. And of all of those days, I probably wrote, with the exception of maybe 30, 35 days. But all the other days, I kept some sort of writing schedule. Now, what happened is when I got out, this was even more powerful. When I got out, I packed up that journal, put it somewhere, and I hit the ground running. 3-4 years later, I get a college degree. I mean, from zero to having a college degree in really, actually 3 years, I got a college degree because I went all year round. So now I'm moving up. I'm able to move around a little bit. I got a little bit of money in my pocket. I'm doing some things. And then I move from one smaller place to a larger place, and that box appears. And I look in it and I go, oh my goodness, there's the journal. And I sit down and I start reading through it, and I start crying, but at the same time, I get exhausted. But I want to keep reading through it, but I knew I couldn't take myself back there because I was talking to my son about this the other day. I said there is something about the human spirit that is different from animals. I heard that if a lion is chasing a gazelle, and soon as the gazelle reaches the point where he goes, whoo, man, I'm in the clear. Oh man, that lion almost had me. They say within 15, 20 seconds, that gazelle will go back to normal. Almost as if that incident never happened. And the conversation I was having with my son is that's one of our greatest strengths is we have this long-term memory to tap into, but it's also one of our weaknesses is that we can actually conjure up things and they feel real from our past. Okay? So what happened was, as I was reading that journal, I couldn't do it. It would just take me all the way back to those moments. And I was just, I was devastated. I couldn't do it. So I actually hired a friend of mine. I said, hey, I need you to transcribe this journal as fast as you can. I'll pay you per page. And whatever grammatical errors that are in there, don't worry about it. I'll know what I'm talking about, so I'll be able to make those changes. So she was able to do that. And then as I started reading it again, now it's on the computer. It's not in these pages. And there was probably some sort of connection to the actual pages that it was less painful as I was reading it on the computer. And I started making the edits. And there was so much content. It was almost 800 pages of content that I had. And so now I'm doing all the grammatical errors, adding things. And one of the things that I did with this book, as well as I did with that journal, and I did this really on 3 occasions. I did it when I wrote the original journal, and then when I edited it, and then when I was writing this book. And that is, I learned this kind of from school as well. And that is, as I was writing in the journal, every evening I blocked out about an hour of time while I was in prison to write in the journal. And I told myself, I said, if I get on an idea that I'm just flowing with ideas and I want to add different things to it, just how I'm thinking about something, I said, I'm not going to stop it just because my time is up. I said, if it takes me to write in the book, write in my journal 2 days, 3 days, a week on this particular topic, I don't think it took that long, but it may have taken me 2 or 3 days to just get out an idea on a particular topic. I said, I'll do that. So then when I started editing the journal, I did the same thing. I said, if I read something in this journal and it reminds me of something that I can take on a ride as far as my thought process, I just kept going. I just kept flowing. I just kept flowing. I just kept flowing. And so the same thing happened when I was writing the book, making calls to my parents, my brothers, everybody to make the ideas clear. And I would just write it out until I got a clear thought. And because of that, it extended the length of the journals to where it was too big to be just one book. And so I said, okay, I'm going to break these journals up into 3 books. So there's actually 3 volumes of the journals, and they're each around 260 pages long for each one of them. And so there's the part 1, which is the beginning of it. Then there's what I call the middle passage of the time when I was in prison. And then like the last 400 days of me being incarcerated. And you could see, as you are flowing through that, you can see the transformation. But here's what happened in between the 2nd and 3rd book. I started noticing that there was a pattern of things that I did when I was successful. And then there were things that I did when I was not successful. And I noticed it came down to this. Whenever I was super successful, I had intentionally or unintentionally asked myself, what do I want? Why do I want it? And can I see that what I want to be, do, or have in my mind before it appeared in physical form? So I was like, wow. I was like, oh my goodness. So that's how it works. You have to be very intentional, know exactly what you want, why you want it, and then formulate this picture in your mind and hold on to it. And eventually it's going to appear in your world. And when I was unsuccessful, I just absolutely just let go of that sort of ideology. So I knew, I said, you know what? That sort of understanding is a book in itself. The lessons that I learned from all the stuff that I went through. So I immediately fast forward. I finished volume 2 of the prison journal, went ahead and finished volume 3. And then I immediately jumped on writing this book. Didn't have a name for it. I think the original name was like 3 questions, because that's what I realized, 3 questions. And then within the book, there's what I call the 9 pillars of success, which are the kind of the principles of life that I sat the 3 questions on top of. All of that stuff is laid out in the book. But this is what I wanted to get to, is that just the journey that went along with putting this book together. because I decided, I said, you know what? It would make more sense if actually this book becomes the first book, because once I get to telling you the story and you see that I won, because as I was transcribing the journal, I was still making my way to where I am right now. This book is the culmination of all that, which actually shows you how I won. And when you find out how I won, then I'll say, or then you'll be more interested in going, let me read a little bit about what was going on through that journey as I was swimming through the mud of a nasty sewer and everything, like, what's his name in the movie The Shawshank Redemption, Andy Dufresne. One of my favorite movies, just because I can relate to somebody really trying to dig themselves out of some place that that they kind of realize that they have outgrown. He belonged there, just like people would tell me when I was in prison, man, you don't belong here. And I go, yeah, I took a gun and I pointed it at 3 people. I said, yeah, I think I belong here. But what I wanted to make sure was that I didn't take what I brought into prison with me. I wanted to come out of it as a new person. And so the journal helped. This book was very therapeutic, as it allowed me to just kind of clean out some things and then see in a really hardcore form how I actually became successful in the things. And I've come to the understanding that I don't care who you are. If you are successful at anything, you are going to ask yourself directly or indirectly, what do you want? Why do you want it? And you're going to formulate that picture in your mind before it appears in your world. Everybody will, just as I've said that, everyone will think, yeah, you are absolutely correct. I absolutely did that. You may not have done it intentionally. Now, the ones who do it intentional, in my opinion, it happens faster. But most of us do it very unintentionally, or not. The successful ones, or where it happens faster, do it directly. The other ones are successful, but they do it more indirectly. So I just wanted to share that with you. Again, thanks everybody for the birthday shout outs. The book I have to finish everything by the 15th because I'm doing some small editing, so it can be available by November 19th. And I'm not sure when the actual physical book, hopefully soon after that. There's some things I need to work on as far as, the pages and copyrights and all that other stuff. Like, I have that stuff done. So there's going to be a few things that I do with that. But be on the lookout. You can go on to ebooks. I think the ebook is like $3, $4. You get it, you'll have it, and then you'll just have that. If some of you are like that sort of version, but if you don't, definitely inbox me and let me know that, hey, when this book comes out, I definitely want a hard cover. And I'll make sure you get one of those, and I'll sign it as well, because I'll probably be doing a lot of the mailing. I probably won't have it with some fancy company or whatever like that. Or if you do get it, then we'll figure out some way as far as getting it to me, and then I'll get it signed. I'll get it back to you, shipping and all that other stuff. That's not a problem. But again, I just want to thank everybody. Through video format, I'm gonna try to do a little bit more of that as we approach the 19th, and then things after that. But again, I will end as I always end, by saying, plan your greatness. And you know why? Because no one else will. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you all next time.
A young boy once was all alone. No one knew